Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Charles E. Smith Jr. and welcome to the first edition of Dodger Dogs. We're going to be focusing on the National League, Major League Baseball with an emphasis on our hometown Los Angeles Dodgers. Can't do this show alone though. Very proud to be joined by a veteran of radio broadcasting and a fellow Southern California boy. MikedUpRadio.com is the website. You can follow him on Twitter at MikedUpRadio.com. Without further ado, here he is live via the miracle of Google Voice, Mike Gabriel. Mike, what's happening, man?
Yes, sir. Charles E. Smith Jr. I can't tell you how nice it is to be here with you. I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm absolutely honored to be here with you. And I think we're going to have a hell of a time. We got a huge Dodger fan base, not only in the great state that we live in, the great city that we live in, but across the entire world. So, huge database of great fans. Looking forward to interacting with them, and of course, looking forward to the show every week.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, this is not the first time that we've done a little venture together. You were a guest on Inside Sports a couple of years ago, and we had talked about doing something like this for a while. And I knew you were the baseball guy. You're just a pure baseball lover. And, you know, before we get into the show, though, a little bit about what you're doing now, MikedUpRadio.com, and also, you know, at MikedUpRadio.com on Twitter. But what's the latest there for you, Mr. Gabriel?
Well, you know, it's kind of a, you know, bang bang show type. You know, I get in there, I knock a show out in 45 minutes, half hour. Get the top news, get a good guest, get some energy in there, and I got a nice little tight-knit fan base that comes every week, listens to the show, follows me, and that's the reason why I continue to do it. I mean, without them, I'm not doing it. I have so much fun interacting with them, and it just makes things a lot more easier and more fun. So it's every sport, you know. We break everything down. That's at MikedUpRadio.com, and it's just fun, man. It's not a long show. It's quick, it's easy, it's fun. It's, you know, just to kind of get things going, and where you're not sitting back listening to a 2-hour show of just the same stupid voice, you know. And so it makes it fun.
Absolutely. Now, well, that's the thing, and you know, they can go to MikedUpRadio.com and find out when your shows are. Follow you on Twitter at MikedUpRadio.com, and they can follow me on Twitter at The Inside Sports. So, you know what, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, of course, this is the midway point. The AllStar game just happened, and this is really when people get, the casual followers of baseball really kind of scoot to the edge of the seat and start really taking notice is right here at the AllStar break.
It is, and it's a fantastic time to start a show like the Dodger Dogs, my friend. I think everybody's going to get involved in the baseball. And, you know, I have so many friends and family that tell me over and over again, how do you sit there and watch a baseball game? I can go to a game and have a dog and a beer, but how do you sit there on TV and watch a baseball game? And, Charles, a lot of those people don't understand the game of baseball. The ins of baseball is one of the most prettiest things in the entire world. It's an absolute chess match, and there's so much going in the outside of the game that people don't understand. That once you do understand it, you would listen to a game, you know, 18 innings on radio, and I've done in the past. So, you know, look, this is a sport that is fantastic, and like you said, it's the midway point, and it's the most exciting time. Only because another point is it's trade deadline time. July 31st is the non-waiver trade deadline, and this is where a lot of stuff happens. Action kind of gets going, and players get moved and stuff like that. So. It is. It's a great time to do it. It's a great time to do the show, and I'm looking forward to obviously doing it. There's going to be a lot of guys moving, and we mentioned this pre-show. The Washington Nationals, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the LA Dodgers are in first place in their division. I mean, that's kind of freaky.
Right. And you know what? Well, when we think about it, though, so what I'd have to ask you is are the Dodgers, for one thing, but we'll get to them in a minute. The Nationals, when we look at this, the run differential with the teams, the Nationals at plus 58, the Pirates at plus 32. The Dodgers lead the division, but they're only at a plus 10 with the run differential. So with the Dodgers, have they gotten lucky? Is it smoke and mirrors? And we look at their last 10 games. They come in here having dropped 3 in a row to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've lost 6 of their last 10. So what's going on there with the Dodgers?
Well, before the 6 of the last 10, they won 4 or 5. So it's a time where the Dodgers are injury plagued. I mean, the injuries are really, really hurting the team a lot. And a lot of that credit goes to Don Mattingly just to put all these guys together. But Matt Kemp went down and Andre Ethier went down. I figured, you know what, Dodgers down 3 games, even 5 games at the All-Star break. I love my chances because Matt Kemp comes back after the All-Star game. Andre Ethier comes back a week after that. You're getting Javi Guerra back to bolster up your bullpen. You're getting a healthy now Mark Ellis. So, you know, a lot of the time, Charles, you have a double-A team out there competing with major league players. It's tough to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, the run differential is an excellent point. It's a great number. It's a great stat. The plus 10 makes a ton of sense because there was a lot of 2-run games that they lost, a lot of 2-run games, 2-1 games that they won. So pitching has been there all season long. Guys like Chris Capuano has been amazing. Kershaw has done his thing. Kenley Jansen, the bullpen closing games out, has been tremendous. One of the top closers now in the game, taking over for Javi Guerra. Look, I think that's all going to change. And I don't care how you win games. It's a matter of just winning games, especially being so banged up. Now you get these guys back. I promise that run differential will double, maybe triple, close to the end of the year. You're getting guys back, like I mentioned, Andre Ethier and Matt Kemp. And, you know, you're a half game up in the division with an awful first half, meaning injury-wise, with an awful roster. It's an absolute win. I mean, that's unbelievable how they did it. I have no idea.
Exactly. Now, when we talk about pitching, and we know when it comes down to crunch time, you know, you got to have some boys, you know, pitching well for you. The pitching, you know, as we all know, that wins championships. Let's talk about 2 of the Dodger pitchers, though. You know, what about Chad Billingsley and Chris Capuano, who we look at a little bit of a surprise, but not necessarily on the same side of the ball there?
Chris Capuano has been definitely the brightest star. Coming in, he signs a 2-year deal with the Dodgers. Nobody really ever thought he'd have a below 3 ERA. He's won 9 games so far for the Dodgers. On the other side, like you mentioned, Chad Billingsley has been. I don't know if I can pick a word. I know you want this to be a PG show. Sometimes I get to the rated R.
PG-13. Go PG-13
okay,
on me.
13. Okay, 13. Okay, well, look, I think he's been atrocious at times, Billingsley. He showed a sign of coming back to life the last couple starts of the season. He goes through 4 innings, and then, boom, he gets slammed in the 5th inning, and it's Chad Billingsley all over again. I'm not sure really what it is. You know, it could be mechanics. It could be mental. I think a lot of it is mental. I think he's very soft upstairs, and I think that gets to him. You know, there's a lot of the time where I look at a pitcher is I like a guy who's tough. I like a guy who's going to go after guys. I like a guy who isn't going to mess around. But number one, I like guys who take their teammates back. And what I mean by that is when a guy like Ethier gets hit in the shoulder and your starting pitcher doesn't hit another guy in the shoulder or anywhere else, I think you're a little bit weak-minded. And Billingsley's had that chance to do that in the last couple of years against Phillies in the playoffs, the years after that. He's had those chances, and I think that tells you the makeup of Chad Billingsley. I think he's soft, and I think the players don't like that. I think his teammates don't like that.
Right.
At the end of the day, he's not doing his thing. He's not producing. He's got a 4.3 ERA. He's lost 9 games. So, look, without the acquisition of Chris Capuano, I'm not sure where this team is. They'd be 4 or 5 games back of the Giants.
Exactly. Now, when we look at it, going into, you know, the All-Star break just happened. Going into this weekend, they got a 3-game set coming up. Well, a couple of them during this homestand. 3 games against the Padres, and then 3 games against the free-falling Phillies.
Free falling, man. You know, Tom Petty sings free falling every day in Philadelphia nowadays, man.
Yeah.
It's awful. And Ryan Howard obviously coming back now. You know, he's not going to be 100%. He's going to be rusty. This is the time to play the Phillies. There's no doubt about it. They went up there. They swept the Phillies in 4 games. That hasn't happened since like 1732. You know, so you know, you obviously take those games. You love when a team is down. You take advantage of them. San Diego Padres aren't a very good team. Talent-wise, they're not very good. Got a couple pitchers, but they don't do nothing for you. Look, the Dodgers should win 5 out of the 6 games in the next 6 games here. You get a healthy Matt Kemp Friday night, and Charles, I can't describe to you how bad. I can't wait to see this guy play again. He's one of my favorite Dodgers of all time, as I'm sure a lot of Dodger fans out there listening right now. feel the same way. This kid is amazing. He's got 7 tools, not 5. He does everything correctly. And I can't wait till he gets in that uniform again and plays and puts him in the middle of the lineup. He's going to make a huge difference to this team. And like you mentioned, these next 2 series, I can't see us not winning the next 5 or 6 games.
All right, now, with the Dodgers, what would you think? Now, with, you say, the trade deadline coming up, with the Dodger team now, with everyone back and healthy, and especially Matt Kemp, as you say, would you think that the Dodgers to stay in contention there through the second half, maybe win the division and maybe make a run at getting to the World Series, do they need to make some trades? Do they need to make some moves, or can they stand pat with what they have now and just let the team work its magic?
No, I don't think they can stand pat. I think this team is good enough to win a division, but I don't think that's good enough for this new Dodger brass. I think they are in it to win it, and that's the entire thing, not just the division. I think with this roster now said, intact, healthy, they could no doubt win the division. San Francisco is playing over their head. I think they're a great ball club. I think they have amazing pitching. But I think a little bit of smoke and mirrors, like the Dodgers, has been smoke and mirrors, no doubt. I mean, all season long with all those injuries. But to answer your question, they're looking for a power hitter if they can find one somewhere in the corner, either first base or third base. Rumors of Shane Victorino, it's not true. I don't see them going after a left fielder. You fill the hole with a Bobby Abreu, a Juan Rivera, even a Ilian Herrera. Your third and your first baseman, your corner outfielders, Charles, corner infielders are awful. God awful. And Juan Uribe is terrible. James Loney's starting to hit right now, and which is good. Let him raise his stock. Maybe you could deal him. I'm not a fan of either guy. I didn't like the signing when they signed him 2 years ago with Juan Uribe, and I knew it was going to be a disaster. But look, if they can find a corner outfielder, maybe a LaHair in Chicago with the Cubs, now that Rizzo gets called up and he's hitting bombs, LaHair isn't a right fielder playing right field. He's more of a first baseman. If they could somehow, the thing with the Dodgers is they got a lot of young pitchers who they can throw at. Guys like Zach Lee, who the Cubs would love to have. It's just a matter of the Dodgers giving up guys like that for a guy like LaHair. And I think it'd be worth it because LaHair could be a Dodger for the next 7-8 years and be a bright star at first base. But to answer your question going back, I think it's a corner outfielder. They're looking for a left-handed reliever, and they're looking for some more pitching. Guys like Dempster and Matt Garza are 2 guys that are being mentioned that they're looking for.
Right, exactly. So, you know what, and we'll be, just for those who may be just joining us, Inside Sports production of Dodger Dogz. I'm Charles E. Smith, Jr. I'm on the line with Mike Gabriel from MikedUpRadio.com. And we'll be doing this weekly show about the Dodgers, focusing on the Dodgers. We'll talk about baseball in general, of course, but really with a focus on the Dodgers. And, speaking of that, we watched the AllStar game last night. The outcome really wasn't in doubt. That was kind of a shellacking there by the National League, 8-0. But how about Bryce Harper, the youngster getting out there in the AllStar game and loses a ball in the lights. And somewhere, do you think when Dan Uggla saw that, was he kind of giggling a little bit? Because we remember Dan Uggla, his first All-Star game, I think it was 2009, when he comes in, doesn't come in until the 6th inning. And then in the 10th inning, he boots 2 balls, and then boots one in the 13th. Fortunately, the game was not decided until the 15th inning, but comes in and sets a major league record for errors in an All-Star game.
Can you imagine setting a record in an All-Star game for errors? No, seriously. I mean, you go to an All-Star...
And it only took him 3 innings to do it, too.
You're supposed to be an All-Star. You're supposed to do All-Star caliber things, and you're known for the most errors in an All-Star game. I mean, that's probably the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. I'm a fan of Dan Uggla. I'm a fan of his short sleeves and showing his gut, and showing those biceps. He's the type of guy who goes to the gym before a softball game and just dumbbells, like doing dumbbells in front of the mirror, and then he raises his sleeve before a softball game. Sloping softball and shows his guns to the next, to his opponents. That's Dan Uggla. That's who he is. I love him. Uggla's a stud. Not known for his glove, that's for sure. Bryce Harper, I thought last night with Clayton Kershaw on the mound, I thought Bryce Harper was wearing a Giant hat, man. I thought he was being a Giant guy and being maybe he was a Giant fan as a kid and wanted to screw a Dodger. I don't know. But look, the kid's 19 years old. He's phenomenal. Another five-tool player. I think he's going to hit 400 home runs in his career. I'm not, Charles, the crazy part about Bryce Harper is how studly this kid is. Can you imagine this kid got called up in May and he won, and he's in the AllStar game. At 19. At 19. I mean, this kid, he's not 22. He didn't get called up in opening day. He wasn't an opening day starter. He got called up in May. He was a month late, and he was an All-Star at 19. That's Mickey Mantle, right? I mean,
exactly.
That's unbelievable.
Well, what I like is that's kind of, to me, when I look at something like what happened to him, that's just the baseball gods just keeping him honest, saying, yeah, we got you, kid, but, don't get a swelled head.
That's right. Exactly. Bring him back down to life. Get him a little humble. You're an All-Star, but you still do lose life. You lose balls in the life, right?
Exactly. So I'll tell you what, we're about ready to wrap things up here, but any other, we talked about baseball, what's going on there, anything in general. Now, I know you like all sports. Would you, have you heard of this center in Orlando called Dwight Howard? Is that what his name is?
I think he plays for the WNBA Mystic, or what's that team in the WNBA?
Yeah, something like that.
Team out there.
Yeah,
starting center for
What are your thoughts on that, the whole Howard situation, man? I got to get your take on that. I know it's a baseball show, but hey, it's about sports. I got to get your take on the Dwight Howard situation, man.
Can we change the rating of the show to PG-13 and the rated R, or?
We got to keep it PG-13, man. Gonna have to get out that thesaurus and find some real good descriptive terms that you can use.
I'm not that smart to do that, man. I can't use any of those terms. But look, Dwight Howard is seriously. I have so many words, and I usually use them on my show because my show, I don't really care. I mean, I don't. I have a good time with it, and people love it, so I don't. Whatever. But listen, Dwight Howard. It now looks like Dwight Howard will not be traded to the New Jersey Mets. And this whole entire time, he wanted to be traded to the New Jersey Mets.
Right.
I'm not sure if it was the Russian owner out there. Maybe he's got Russian brides coming in and out. I'm not sure what it is that gets Howard so attracted to New Jersey. I think I finally figured it out, though. I think Dwight Howard ultimately is a loser. And I don't think he really, truly wants to win. Because in New Jersey, what happens if they make the playoffs and they lose in the second round? Oh, man, Dwight Howard came in here, and look what he did for New Jersey. We haven't been in the finals since 2001. Look what Dwight Howard has done. Now, if he comes to L.A., and if they lose in the Western Conference Finals, trade Dwight Howard. Get him out of this town. Get him out of here. I want nothing to do with him, right?
Well, here's what's happening, too. If he was to come to L.A., and L.A., other than George Mikan, who was an original, but L.A. has a record of stealing superstar centers. Stole Wilt Chamberlain, they stole Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they stole Shaq, and it led to championships. So if Dwight Howard comes here to L.A., if he were to come to L.A., it's for one reason and one reason only. He's supposed to hang a banner. They're supposed to hang a banner with Dwight Howard leading the way. That's what it comes down to. So I would, that what you say may be very well true.
Could be. It's probably the pressure. I'm not sure. And I know Darren Williams is a phenomenal player, top 3 point guard in the league. But now with Steve Nash, he's really good friends with Steve Nash. And I know Steve Nash is 38. I know Steve Nash has maybe 3 more years in him. I know Kobe's got 3 more years in him. It's a relatively old team the Lakers have. Right. So you're not going to be young guns with Darren Williams and Joe Johnson and Gerald Wallace and Dwight Howard. It's not going to be that kind of team. And I kind of get that. It's the future of it. But, I mean, this 3-year window, if Dwight Howard comes onto this team with a Gasol and a Metta World Peace and a Steve Nash and a Kobe Bryant, that's probably the best starting 5 in a long time. And that includes the Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James. So, look, I think they have a chance to win 2 of 3 titles in the next 3. I think they have a chance to win 2 titles in the next 3 years. If Dwight does come to L.A., I think he makes that big of a difference. The other part of it is I know the Lakers are very hesitant, obviously, because of his back surgery he had in the offseason, which makes a lot of sense. But the other part of this is Bynum knows now he's on the block, and he's not Pau Gasol. He's not going to put the happy face on. Bynum will let them know that he is pissed. And if you want me out of town, get me out of town. And it could be shown in his play on the court as well. So that could affect the Lakers in a lot of different ways. So they got to be really careful about this thing. Plus, Bynum then becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. He says he's going to test the market, but at the same time, Bynum isn't that stupid. He's not going to leave $25 million on the table. So I think ultimately, at the end of the day, he signs a long-term deal with the Lakers if they can't make a trade for Dwight Howard.
All right. Very well put, Mr. Gabriel. So I'll tell you what, we've gone about 20 minutes. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. So any final words for the fans here? MikedUpRadio.com. Follow him on Twitter at MikedUpRadio.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at The Inside Sports. Mr. Gabriel, before we go ahead and sign off, any final words for the fans out there?
Absolutely, I do. I just want to warn everybody. Look, I'm a very, 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 very passionate fan. And when the Dodgers lose games, there's a lot of broken furniture at my house or Dodger Stadium. I've broken 4 cup holders at Staples Center watching a Laker game. So it's not fun when I'm around and my teams lose. I hate losing. It's one of those things that I just don't do. It's not in my dictionary or vocabulary, and Wikipedia or anything. So, look, I'm just letting you know, the Dodgers are on a little losing streak. They're losing 5-6 games, and we come onto the show. Charles, it's not going to be fun. I'm going to rip this team, and they will let me, I will let them know how bad they are. So I'm just warning everybody out there that, I'm not that color rose kind of guy who will, everything's going to be just fine. This is L.A., and we're the Dodgers, and winning history. No. BS. That's not the way it is. I tell you how exactly it's going to be. And it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I look really forward to doing this show. I think you obviously do a tremendous job on what you do, and I think the two of us are going to coexist great. And like I said, man, I can't wait to hear from the fans. Let them email us questions. Let them come on the show. Give us a call. We'll get some hosts on the show. And this is one of many, so I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, fantastic. So, and you know what? It was my pleasure also. I've been trying to put this thing together, as you know, Mike, for a couple of years. But looks like we're here now, and we'll be here through the end of baseball season, and who knows, maybe beyond. Maybe we'll wind up doing an NBA show. Nobody knows what's down the road. So, hey, thanks everybody for joining us. So for Mike Gabriel, I'm Charles E. Smith Jr. This is an Inside Sports production of Dodger Dogs, and we will see you next week.